Hello everyone, I'm Marika De Rosa, ADS Competitiveness Operations Manager, and I'm here today with George Wilson. He's SC21 practitioner for ManEx, BusEx, and RelEx from 2014. Hello, George.
Good afternoon.
Please talk a little bit about yourself, please.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. George Wilson from the Centre for Competitiveness based in Belfast. We've been involved, as Marika said, since 2014 as SC21 practitioners. And I mean, our organisation had a background of working in business improvement anyway, and from everything from providing training to a support for in-house programs. We were an EFQM partner and have been an EFQM partner for many, many years. So whenever that sort of promotion of SC21 came through Invest Northern Ireland, and there was support being provided for the anyone supplying into the likes of Bombardier, as was to Thales, etc. It was a natural fit for us because a lot of what we did fell under the SC21 banner anyway. So we went through the process of becoming signed off as practitioners, and have been lucky enough ever since to be working with organizations at the different levels, moving from bronze to silver and indeed gold for some.
Yeah, you mentioned the EFQM organization. So basically, just recently I've been at an EFQM networking event. It was a really interesting experience. So let's start with the question about the benefits of SC21. So which would you say are the benefits of SC21 and who are benefiting from them?
I think you can look at that at different levels. I mean, if you look at it from the sort of the main customer, which is the supplier into any of the primes, or then for them it is just an excellent opportunity to take a structured approach at looking at how they manage the business, not just looking at managing improvement, but looking at, you know, how well they are managing all aspects of the business, how well they manage all aspects of their operations. So the process of going through the diagnostics can be very revealing to some, depending on the level of maturity. It can really help them put in place some good foundations. Others who have maybe been looking at this for some time have the opportunity to reflect on, you know, their progress and what the next stage might be. So I think the benefits to the organizations involved are many. Benefits also to, of course, to the OEMs, the primes, because they have got the reassurance that anybody that's working with them is actually working to a certain standard and level. Benefits to the Northern Ireland economy in a wider sense for us, because you've got, you know, the support through Invest Northern Ireland to build up a cadre of expertise amongst those companies, which in turn, provides a positive message about Northern Ireland in terms of the number of organizations that are actually coming through the process and performing well. And of course, even for ADS, in terms of, you know, them having a number of organizations that they can then look to identify good role model, good practice for the sector, and promote that.
Definitely, very exhaustive answer. Thank you very much, George, for your insights. So let's change topic and let's talk about which tool do you feel is challenging for the small and medium organizations?
Yeah, again, you know, they can be challenging for some small organizations. We work with some small engineering companies, 15, 20, 30 people, and it can be the actual process of going through SC21 in itself can be challenging, in so much as they're being exposed to a structured approach to looking at how they manage operations, structured approach to how they manage their relationships with key partners. So the diagnostics in themselves can present a challenge in terms of how strategically they think. When organizations work with it over time, the challenge is obviously how to sustain improvement. And of course, then that's where the progression to the different levels becomes such an attraction, and also can be of such benefit in terms of the measure of progress. So in terms of challenge, I think the actual process of going through it can be a welcome challenge for some. On a practical level, the diagnostics are robust. I think for most, the manufacturing excellence one is the easiest to access because the language is theirs. The one that can prove challenges is maybe the business excellence, in so much as it's taken that much broader strategic perspective of all aspects of operations, and it's making the organization step back and reflect on, well, how well joined up are we, and do all our various approaches support one another? So I think on different levels, there's different challenges.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's quite a robust process and a robust, in consequence, a robust set of tools, basically. So, thank you. So, I have a last question that is last but not least, and also I always repeat during these interviews. Because I really like to have an open, honest feedback about what do you think are the opportunities for improvement for the SC21 program?
Again, I think there's 2 or 3 aspects to that. On one level, you could argue from the practical assessment perspective, i.e. of working through the diagnostics for organizations, that's being addressed. I mean, there's obviously constant feedback taken from organizations about the diagnostics and how they're working. There are obviously working groups there to review how things are happening, and you can see that change reflected in, for example, the introduction recently of the SCS program, where it's evolving over time. So I think from that perspective, there is a focus on improving the process based on the feedback. I think maybe the wider issue is how you make sure that there's an appropriate sort of demonstrative impact of the program over time, because some of the organizations involved in this are very mature, very well respected in their sector and outside the sector, who are performing at a high level over time, and it's just promoting that as best one can, but also even for the sector, looking at the types of benchmark indicators, profiles that are appropriate, not just the Q&Ds, but looking at other indicators. What's the return on investment for programs like this, and having that sort of more comprehensive picture in terms of, well, what are the measures of impact of this type of intervention over time? Because that's there's a wealth of information there. It's just maximizing that to actually promote even more effectively.
Yeah, you mentioned SCS, so let's remind our network that basically in SCS has been included SC21, so the competitiveness pillar as a cornerstone for the SCS program, but we have also other pillars like digitalization, innovations, sustainability, people, skills, and others. So basically, you can find them on the ADS website or on the SC21 SCS website. So the website remain the SC21 website at the moment. So I believe you have been involved in the familiarization training recently in April, if I remember well. I go by memory. Any feedback about that one? Sorry, I promised it was the last question, but
Oh, no, that's okay.
I'm cheating a little bit.
That's fine. And I did indeed go through the familiarization training in April,
Okay.
which was yeah, it was good in terms of understanding obviously the new format, in terms of teasing out some of the detail around the improved diagnostics. I mean, for me, it's good to see that the feedback that's taken from the competitiveness and growth program, from how organizations are working with a diagnostic in general terms, are being brought on board and being used to actually improve the process and make sure that any assessment that an organization goes through is at the one time concise and relevant, but also comprehensive in terms of the things it's addressing. So yeah, I mean, welcome progression, in all fairness.
Definitely. Thank you very much. It has been a real pleasure to speak with you today, and I have the honor to interview you. So thank you, George.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Bye, everyone.